Hello, my name is Josh, and I'm a watchaholic. Welcome to Horology Insanity. What is up, my watch friends? So, check this out. Today, we're looking at Seiko, which I wouldn't say that I'm a psychopath the way that some of y'all are, but I'm a big fan of Seiko. And so, let's take a look at what we're looking at here today. The SNE547. So I've already got it out of this box, but I just wanted to show you the quick packaging. It's your normal Seiko box, outer lining. Pull this up, and then there's your cloth. Underneath that are probably some instruction manuals and cards and all the things that I don't ever read. But yeah, let's take a look at the watch, and then I've got some really cool accessories that my buddy sent me that go along with this. This is my first experience with a Seiko Tuna. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think it's cool. I can see why a lot of people like it. Now, I have a personal kind of con that would keep me from wanting to own this specific watch, but we'll talk about that in a second. So here, if you're curious what I'm wearing the Casio World Time. This is the round variant, right? I don't know, I dig this orange. Yeah, I'm enjoying that one. But here's what we're looking at. This is the Seiko Tuna SNE547. It's got the, it's part of their Prospects line, and you can see that Prospects X right there, kind of at the 6 o'clock. It's also letting you know that it is the solar movement, which is from the caliber V157. As you can see by the ticking second hand, it is a quartz movement. So you shouldn't have any problems with accuracy, and with that solar, you shouldn't have any problems with like battery or anything like that. Usually when these things are fully charged, they can go upwards of like 10 months. So you're going to be good. Just get it out in the sun, or even the incandescent lights, like the inside lights. My studio lights are probably charging this right now, which I think is pretty neat. I think it's cool technology. I have several Seiko Solar and Citizen Solar watches, and not counting like my G-Shocks, a lot of them are also solar, and I'm a big fan. So this is kind of right in line with that. Now, I think the reason they call it a tuna is because the case shape here being round is kind of like a tuna can. So there is that. But one of the things that everybody loves about this is that it's a sizable watch at like 46 or so mil. And I'll give you some specs and dimensions here in a second that'll help you understand that better. But even with its otherwise large size, or what sounds like it's a large size, the lug to lug is such that it wears really, really comfortably, even for those with smaller wrists. Let me throw this on a wrist real quick, just to give y'all a hint at what I'm talking about here. I have an 8-inch wrist. But when I put that on, in my opinion, it actually wears a little small for me. And that's my one and only con to enjoying this watch. I actually think it wears too small for me. So it's interesting that I do love the aesthetic of this one. I love this strap. The green, it's so silky soft. So you have that to look forward to. I really dig the little pop of color that you've got right in here or on the crown, right? You see it there, that copperish red. Let me zoom in on that. Just a little pop of color on the black tuna case. See? And on that crown. So I think all the aesthetics of this watch are awesome. Look at the different color on the bezel, where the 20 minutes are kind of in the matching green there. So this thing is so sweet. But yeah, man, it wears small for me. And so I don't know if you guys, who else has got a big wrist, right? Like, I think his name is Jim. His channel is called The Big Wrist. Check him out. He's got a great channel. He is a legit watch enthusiast. He's got a fantastic collection. But he's probably in the same boat as me, right? I think he's at an 8 a 8-inch wrist. I know Jeff McMahon talks about his 8-inch wrist, and he's in a similar boat. He likes the 44 mil, or so. And so this is funny because this one says it's 46, but it wears so much smaller. So let's talk about the dimensions real quick. If you'll notice, it's kind of thicker at the bottom than it is on the top. And so it measures at let's see here, 46.7 here, 46.6 at the bottom. But if I catch it right across the top, you see it's coming down to 44 almost, right, at the top. And then when I do just the bezel's 39.8, if I can get a grip of that. Yeah, 39.8. So depending on how you grab this watch, it's a little different. Now let's go from the exterior of the lug to lug. Look at that. 43. Nope, I'm a little off. The 44. So it's a 44.5 probably from lug to lug. Yeah. So however they did it, the lug to lug, it's all the same. It's round. And so even though they protrude just a little bit, I've actually heard, and I've not experienced it, again, this is my first time doing it, that some of them are coming where these lugs right here don't even protrude from the case. So it shrinks it up even tighter into that tuna can round shape. And so that would be pretty cool. If anybody knows a model number of one of those, or if you have one, tell me what you think about it. Drop it down in the comments below. I'd be curious. I don't mind this one right here. I just actually wish this was a little bit bigger. If they made, man, at that rate, we're looking at almost 47 mil, right? It'd almost have to be 50 mil to be what I would want. In this exact same design, this exact same shape, but if it was 50 mil, I would probably want to wear it. Now, I did have a friend of mine tell me that he has a Tuna, and he actually got to experience this one. So this is a buddy of ours who was willing to let a couple of other buddies borrow it. This is just him being cool and nice and sending it out to me and another guy. But he experienced this one, and he has a vintage Seiko Tuna. And you can see that even though they're the same specs as that other watch, he says that this one wears smaller than his other Tuna does. And that's an interesting dynamic. I'm guessing it's because of the visual effect that the bezel has on this compared to the other one. I think the bezel on this looks smaller and wears smaller than his Tuna. And so that's what I'm thinking. But it's interesting how all that works. Here's what I do think, since I have a bigger wrist, what I want to try out next is what they call the Arnie. Now, I'm new to all of this, right? I'm pretty well-rounded on my Seiko cocktail times and some of the divers and whatnot, but I don't know a thing about these Tunas, and I don't know a thing about the Arnies. But the Arnie, I think, might wear a little bit bigger, and I might prefer that a little bit more, because I think it's very similar to this, but would fit me a little better, I'd say. So the one I'm looking at, I just saw it on the website. It was the SNJ029. I might be looking at one of those or seeing if I can get one of those in. I have friends that love Arnie's that have multiple ones. So I'm curious if maybe I can get one in on loan. So there's that. Not going to lie. They are a unique style, though. I think that you look at this, and this is one of those where if you've ever heard me talk about how a watch grows on me, I saw this one, and this is one of the few that I was like, oh no, I like that. And I think it's because I like that little pop of copper or whatever that is in there. I like the overall aesthetic of that. I like the Odi green. But in general, I don't think the Tunas or the Seiko Arnies appealed to me much. And now that I've been wearing this one for a bit and experiencing it, I appreciate them more. And I can see why a lot of people like them, especially when you're wearing it, man. This thing is so comfortable, you forget that it's there. And that is a cool thing, I think. It's, some people like heft and whatnot. They want to know their watch is there. But if you know me, I love titanium. I love all the ultralight stuff. This thing being a solar, and it has even this outer case here, I'm guessing that's like a plastic or a polymer or something. I don't think that's stainless steel, but don't quote me on that. But no, this thing is really light, and And I dig that. Like, I dig everything about this watch, except it's the way, I guess, even the size, but it wears small. It wears small. So anyway, that's where we're at on this one. If you've got an SNJ029 and you want to borrow it or lend it into the channel, I'd love to borrow it. If you have another Arnie that you think, or if you got another Tuna and you mess with this one, are they different sizes, right? Or are all the Tunas kind of the same size, but maybe they just wear, like, they wear differently than what the size kind of otherwise would dictate because of the way that their design is. And I'll use, this one and my buddy's, where he put them side by side and he said that this one wears smaller. Well, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it down in the comments. I hope this is a fun one. And with that, and until we talk again, please remember what really matters, and that's not watches. Keep the insanity sane, my friend.